Okay. Wow. Oh, good afternoon and welcome to the Fifth Estate Minutia, where we have conversation about specific developments happening in our environment. And today we are bringing you the issue of insecurity, the worsening insecurity in Benue. My name is Odo Diego Okenyodo, and I am the one anchoring today's show. The man you see here is Mr. Terwase Orbunde. Chief Terwase Orbunde is also a pastor and who was chief of staff to Governor Samuel Ortom for the 8 years when Ortom was governor of Benue State. Now, a lot of things have happened in between. Pastor Orbunde yesterday was attacked by suspected herdsmen, and he was shot in the arm by 5 men, and his wife and the house help, their maid, have been abducted. This happened yesterday in Makurdi, the outskirts of Makurdi, the extension of welfare quarters in Makurdi, where Orbunde was said to be based. Now, it's very scary how things are happening in the state, and one is at a loss to figure out whether Governor Hyacinth Alia is really in control of insecurity or in control of security in the state. We do know that last year, around October, the big town of Otukpo was attacked by gunmen who raided banks and killed even the divisional police officer in Otukpo. They killed a number of people there. And there have been attacks in Agatu where killings have gone unabated. During the week, we were in Benue, and the Naka Road is still impassable because of the sporadic incidents of insecurity in that axis. We do know that also in the Sankara axis there have been attacks, and so many things are on shore for citizens of Benue. We're also aware that during the Ortom regime, there were quite a lot of backlash and attacks and brickbats between him and President Muhammadu Buhari, then president of the country, over the concerns relating to insecurity in Benue. Is everything going worse, or is it getting better under Governor Hyacinth Alia? The Reverend Father, according to the People's Democratic Party that released a statement today signed by Chief Bemba Yotiom, he said that the People's Democratic Party is condemning the armed attack on Pastor Terwase Orbunde and members of his family by suspected herdsmen yesterday in Makurdi. Pastor Orbunde, who served as his chief of staff to Governor Samuel Ortom from 2015 to 2022, is reported to have been attacked by assailants in the evening hours at the welfare quarters extension of Makurdi, where he and his wife, Mrs. Abigail Orbunde, went to inspect work on their farm. The suspected herdsmen, said to be about 5 in number and armed with automatic weapons, reportedly shot the former chief of staff in the arm before abducting Mrs. Orbunde and their maid, Miss Patience Ogute, to an unknown destination. Pastor Orbunde is said to have been rushed to an undisclosed location for treatment, and reports indicate that the abductors this morning spoke with him by phone, demanding the sum of 100 million naira as ransom for Mrs. Orbunde and Miss Ogute, who they threatened that if not paid will result in the death of the victims. PDP said they condemned this dastardly act in the strongest possible terms, lamenting that it further highlights the worsening state of insecurity in the state, as it is now tragically obvious that no one is safe anywhere in Benue, including Makurdi, the state capital city. The party said it calls on Governor Hyacinth Alia to deploy the security vote at his disposal and the right level of political will to tackle the menace of insecurity in the state, which is arrow-headed by Fulani herdsmen and bandits. The governor should provide desperately needed logistical support to security agencies in the state to strengthen their hand towards enforcing the ban on open grazing being flagrantly violated by armed herdsmen, and also curb the activities of bandits. The PDP says it prays for the safe return of Mrs. Abigail Orbunde and the maid, Miss Patience Ogute, while urging Governor Alia to spare no effort towards securing their freedom in safe and sound condition. Now, this is what we are faced with. This is what we are concerned about in this broadcast. We are having a situation where armed men, armed militia are going around killing and maiming people, not only in Benue State, but in different parts of the country. And they fear no consequence because very little is being done. We pray for the men of the security agencies, the officers and men and women of the security agencies who are sacrificing their lives, but politics is being played with respect to supplying them with enough machinery, weapons, and arms. At the same time, intelligence, because it's consistently being said that when intelligence is gathered, not much is done with it because of politics. Now, talking about between between Terwase Orbunde, when he was chief of staff to Governor Samuel Ortom, the erstwhile governor of Benue, there's a lot that happened. We know that between 2015 and 2023, Ortom held sway as governor of Benue. He had contested initially for the flag bearer, to be the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party in 2014. And when he lost that mandate, he went straight and reached out to the stalwarts of the All Progressives Congress under the leadership of the man who was then Minister for Special Duties, but at the same time was a former governor, who is George Akume, who is now the secretary to the government of the Federation. Now, what happened then was that Ortom became flag bearer in very mysterious circumstances. And when he became governor, owing to some disagreements, he crossed over into the People's Democratic Party again. He left the APC and became a champion for defense of the Benue Valley, as he called himself, defender of the Benue Valley, becoming the bulwark of preservation of the Benue Valley and supposed attack towards the south of Nigeria by marauding terrorists. Now, that situation, as it was brewing, over time, Orbunde also wanted to become governor. And he said, he revealed something in a letter publicly, that he actually contributed 160 million naira to the campaign of Chief Samuel Ortom to become governor. And that in exchange, Chief Samuel Ortom had agreed to support his own campaign to become governor of Benue State after the Ortom's tenure. Now, subsequently, Ortom denied that fact. He also wrote a public letter in 4 paragraphs in which he said, well, I never admitted, I never supported, I never committed to supporting your candidature for governor of Benue State. And that was how, with time, this became quite a challenge. You will recall that Orbunde had to resign his position as chief of staff to be able to contest the position of flag bearer of the PDP, to become the flag bearer of the PDP, which he lost to the then Speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly. So a lot happened, and there was bad blood. Before that, Chief Terwase Orbunde had been involved in a car crash that really was a big miracle that he survived. You can see the picture of the crash and how things were very, very... no one thought he would survive, but he did survive, and came out much later to contest the election. So a lot has happened with Chief Orbunde, and it's interesting how this goes. We would expect that as things go, Orbunde is going to yeah, that's Mrs. Orbunde that you can see in the picture. That's Samuel Orbunde himself. So we're asking a question today, and would like you to join us in this conversation in the comment section. With all that is happening from Agatu to Otupo to the Sankera axis and all the way to Makurdi, do you think that Dr. Hyacinth Alia, the governor of Benue State, has got control of the situation in Benue? Do you think that he has a lot to do to take control? Because in the middle of this, he's involved in a political war with the secretary to the government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who has even recently had to be invited alongside the governor to the palace of the Totiv, Professor Ayate, who had to mediate and ask them to sheath their swords, because it's unbearable for him as the spiritual father, the royal father, to see his subjects involved in those kinds of confrontation that is leading to attacks on each other, attacks by their supporters, so he's worried. That is the governor, the Totiv, is worried that the kinds of attacks that have been going on will lead to insecurity and poor development in Benue State. So Hyacinth Alia has a chief security officer in in the government house, who is supposed to be on top of the matter. I know that the Chief Security Officer, Joseph Har, I know he took some men to the Naka Road to, clear the road. He did quite some things. I know the governor is in touch with the military to try and set up a military base in Benue to help forestall some of these kinds of attacks. But in the immediate term, a lot needs to happen, because we know that people are suffering, and as Ortom used to do, Ortom was very loud, very vocal about any attack from the suspected herdsmen. He was always vociferous, and people said, well, Ortom was playing politics with it, because the attacks and his announcements usually came towards the end of the month, and they said he used it as a cover to not be able to pay salaries. But these are all speculations that anybody in government has to face. We do wonder what extra efforts that the governor of Benue, Governor Hyacinth Alia, needs to put in to be able to galvanize his large followers to be able to participate in this process of securing Benue. Can Governor Hyacinth Alia do it all alone? Is he doing it all alone? We don't know also that recently he gathered the traditional leaders, and he had consultations with them, and the fact is, yes, he's doing something, he's doing some stuff, but are these enough? Why the incessant attacks in Benue? In Agatu, it's just not abating. There are attacks day in, day out, and there is no proper governmental response. The poor road from Makurdi through Aide to Otukpo has become the main road now for all kinds of movements. But we do know that when one road becomes the main road, the mainstay of the economy of the state, that road is soon going to become vulnerable, as was seen from the Oweto road to the Naka road, and we now have only the Aide road really serving the people properly. If these attacks continue, what are the implications for food security? The other week, the member of the House of Assembly, the Benue State House of Assembly, representing Otukpo and Akpa constituency, was attacked while there in Zone C. He got an attack, gunshots, and kidnaps happened. But as usual, not much came out of it. We're fortunate that Honorable Kennedy Angbo survived that attack, but a lot is just not happening. A lot needs to happen. The PDP has raised an issue that Governor Alia needs to equip the livestock guards and implement the anti-open grazing law. He says the Benue State in the release said that Governor Alia is going soft on the herders, and that they are bearing arms, and this much he has said that the state governor, let me read his statement again for you. It says that the party calls on Governor Hyacinth Alia to deploy the security vote at his disposal and the right level of political will to tackle the menace of insecurity in the state, which is arrowheaded by Fulani herdsmen and bandits. Do you agree that this is really a situation arrowheaded by Fulani herdsmen and bandits alone? Is there more that needs to be done? What needs to be done? What needs to be done? Is it only about resources going to the security agencies? Because we also saw during the Ortom era that, yeah, this continued unabated. There were still kidnaps, there were still attacks by herdsmen, and Ortom had the same security votes and did not pay salaries on time, sometimes paying once in 4 months, you know, mainly because he said the security votes were being consumed. Is the PDP being fair on the Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia in terms of the demands that he should deploy the security votes to secure the state? Is that really the problem? Is it all about the security votes? We do not know what is at play here, and we really would ask that the politicians would reduce the times that they play with the lives of the people. Oftentimes, when one government leaves and another comes in, we're able to find out that there were the involvement of government officials in the insecurity within the state. We recall the revelations that were made by the late Terwase Orbunde, also known as Ghana, who was saying how persons in government were responsible for arms dealing, giving him and his followers arms to attack innocent Benue citizens. What should be done? How much transparency should we demand of the government with respect to security and insecurity? How much information is too much information in the hands of the public? We've heard so much trading of blames. Now the PDP is trading blames, is urging Governor Hyacinth Alia to do stuff that they mostly never told the governor then under the PDP to do. So, is that really the answer? Is it really committing security votes into the hands of the security agencies? Is that the solution? Is it also that more needs to be done with respect to transparency and openness, intelligence gathering, using the traditional institutions to gather intelligence? But how protected are the traditional institutions in themselves? The traditional rulers, do they have enough protection to have confidence in the security agencies to be able to protect them? These are the questions that are hanging, especially with this attack on Terwase Orbunde, the former chief of staff to Governor Samuel Ortom. It's interesting that the PDP really are the ones now condemning the attack on Terwase Orbunde. because he is a member of theirs. But was the PDP really there for Terwase Orbunde at the time when he needed them? So politics, there's a lot happening, but the politics in Benue is such that it's always the one that trumps all other forms of reasoning. And this should not be the case. The development of the people should be at the core. And we at Akwea TV, we call on Governor Hyacinth Alia to prioritize the development of the state by ensuring security, because without security, there will be no education. Without security, there will be no economic activity. Without security, there will be no farming. Without security, so many things you can't do. So security is fundamental, and we do call on Governor Hyacinth Alia to do all that he can to ensure that Benue is secure and ready for the next level that he is supposed to take the state. This is where we end the Fifth Estate Minutia today. In the comment section, we'll be expecting your comments. What can be done to protect Benue? The situation is getting more troubling.